Good afternoon. Now we are going to have a discussion on organizational intervention. Already we have studied two types of organizational interventions. First one was the individual intervention, and the second one was the team intervention. I hope you all recall what are the different varieties of techniques or the interventions that had been used in these two categories. Now, our third variety or the third category is the comprehensive intervention. Again, as the name suggests, you can understand that it encompasses this particular types of intervention, neither include only the individual uh, employees, nor it involves only the team. Rather, it's an approach which encompasses the entire organization. So that's why it is known as the comprehensive intervention. To have a better understanding, we can refer to a PowerPoint slide. Here it is, comprehensive intervention. The types of comprehensive interventions are here in front of you on the screen. There are 5 types. First one is known as the confrontation meeting. Second one, survey feedback. Third one, force system management. Fourth one, the managerial grid. And the fifth one, the contingency approach. Confrontation meeting. What does it mean? Confrontation. It will actually come from some criticism. Now, it will involve the entire organization. It will involve each and every department of the organization. Now, there may be multiple issues which may be kept hidden, which are not actually expressed. And since these are not expressed, the organization fails to identify any solution to that. The concept is simple. If you are hiding your disease, it's impossible for the doctor to treat you properly. The same thing happens in case of the organization as well. The issues that can lead to a confrontation that may be there underlying, but ultimately these are not actually being addressed to, and finally no remedy to that. So the problem enhances, the confrontation, the conflict, the problems go on without any proper remedy to that. So this type of meeting, the confrontation meeting, as you can see from here, that the confrontation meeting is an activity. Obviously it's an activity, meeting itself is an activity which allows the entire management group to take a quick reading on its own health. The entire management team, it can be management team, not necessarily it will be the management team only. It can be the other employee groups. It can be the multiple departmental heads. It can be the employees from the multiple departments. They will sit in a given meeting. Obviously, size of the inter size of the participating employees should not be very large, should not exceed at 20, so that we can have a proper distribution and distribution of the thought, sharing of the thoughts and discussion. Now the main issue will be the confrontation. Means each and everyone should come with some rational and relevant criticism to identify the problem areas. The areas of criticism can be functional, it can be behavioral, it can be relational as well. So the confrontation meeting helps us, where all the participants of the meeting are sitting together, and they can help us to have a there will be a discussion, and they can help us to understand that what is the exact problem underlying within the group. These are the steps. First of all, the climate has to be set. What does it mean by climate setting? Although there will be the discussion which is having a focus on the points of differences, confrontation, criticisms, but the climate of the meeting should be favorable enough for everyone so that everyone can have a proper expression of their thought. Information collection. Through that discussion, before the discussion starts, actually there should be the proper information collection about the participant, what are the issues to be addressed now, and what are the relevant information as well. Each and every participant should come with the proper information. I used a term a few minutes back that it should be the relevant criticism and it should be a rational criticism. So whoever is criticizing, they must come with a proper data set. So the information must be collected by the participants of the meeting. At the meeting, during the meeting, the information should be shared. Usually it is done through a presentation. A particular group or the party will present, others will listen to that, and they will come across, they will learn about the relevant information. Now the priority setting. Once the problem areas or the issues are identified, the confrontation issues are identified, now there will be definitely the different priority areas. That has to be properly set, and the plan for the action, what to be done, has also to be set accordingly. Organizational action plan has to be set. I told you that this confrontation meetings are actually done in groups, cannot be done for the entire organization just for the sake of the huge number. Now, this organizational groups will sit together. Ultimately, the issues will be addressed and identified for each and every group, and finally, the organizational action plan has to be developed. Actually, these things, these do not happen in case of a meeting. These are the follow-up steps of a meeting. Action plan has to be drawn, action plan has to be formulated once the meeting feedback is obtained, and after that the action plan will be drawn. Once the action plan has been drawn, and if at all implemented, it must be immediately followed up. And finally, there will be the multiple review meetings that will review the progress of the entire confrontation resolution process. It is one of the primary objectives of this organizational development to reduce the confrontation. If you cannot, if not possible to make it zero, but reduce to the maximum possible extent and get the change managed through the active participation of the employees. So that is the objective. So this has to be done. One single meeting cannot serve this purpose. There must be the multiple review meetings. There will be a specially assigned team that will continuously review the outcome of the confrontation meeting. After confrontation meeting, let's talk about the benefits of the confrontation meeting as well. Yes, direct communication. Nothing to be kept hidden. Everything should be open, expressed, and that will actually signify the direct communication inside a meeting, and that will signify the direct communication practices inside the organization as well, but not in an erratic way. It must be a very structured way, and that's why this confrontation meeting is conducted. Confrontation meetings are not the mere quarreling or altercation. It is a structured way to vent out the anger or the criticism. Morale of the employees increased if the things are pretty open, expressed, well reflected, then definitely the morale of the employees will increase. Definitely it will contribute to a better work culture, more open, improve interdepartmental human relationship, and we can get a solution to the day-to-day problems as well. So these are the final benefits of the confrontation meeting. After confrontation meeting, we can go to another process, technique, intervention, which is known as the survey feedback. Survey feedback, as you can see on screen, it is a process where the organizational members are given with a questionnaire on various organizational issues. So one thing we have to keep in mind that although it's a survey process using the questionnaire, different rating scales, but the focus should not deviate from the organizational issues. No personal factors, no particular preferences will be addressed. All will be focused on the organizational issues. And based on that questionnaire response, the feedback will be collected by the researcher group, and finally the appropriate action to be recommended. So this is what the survey feedback is all about. The researcher group, the consulting group will do the survey and do the survey with an objective to get the feedback from the employees. Employee, again I will tell you that it can be of any types of employee, management group, non-managerial employee category and all. But normally it has been seen that the confrontation meetings are kept with a homogeneous dimension, like the management meeting, where only the top-notch professionals are present. The same thing can happen for the other employee groups as well. Steps of optimal survey. These are the very simple steps. We all know that these are the common steps to be performed in case of an organizational survey. The planning definitely will be done by the top of the organizational members staying at the top of the hierarchy. Data are collected from all the organization. This is what I am emphasizing a lot, as the type of intervention is the comprehensive intervention. So we must not leave any corner of the organization untouched. Then the purpose will be solved. Data are fed back to the top executive team. Obviously, they are the final decision maker, so data has to be communicated to them. Each superior presides at the meeting with the subordinates in which the data are discussed. And most feedback meetings include a consultant who has helped prepare the superior for the meeting and who serves as a resource person. Obviously, we understand, we know already that in case of the organizational development, we need to have an external expert intervention. And normally they are referred as the consultants, the change agents. They will basically coordinate the entire process of the survey feedback. They will provide the essential knowledge resource to the top decision makers of the organization, and finally the entire steps will be executed. So I will conclude here, and we are having many areas to still discuss that will be discussed at length in the future lecture sessions. Thank you very much.